Ooh, what's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 107 of the Stand Up Guys podcast. I'm your host, the incomparable Zach Jones, joined as always by my brother from the same mother, Lester Jones.
Hello, everybody.
And of course, we got the Ninth Wonder, Chocolate Thunder, taking Dumpkins and getting Blumpkins. Step aside the Batman and make way for the Scat Man. Nothing makes him moan like a rusty trombone. The phenomenal A.J. Singh.
I'm one of those newer wonders. I'm not one of the original wonders of the world.
We were talking about McAfee today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the poop hammock?
Poop hammock. Like, they were saying they paid someone to shit in his mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah, Tom Segura in your mom's house, like, they've showed this video a couple times of, like, the prostitutes, like, talking about him. And, yeah, that was his thing where he would have them get in a hammock, and then he would go underneath, and they would have them, like, shit. He would have them shit through the hammock and, like, fall on him. Yeah, he's a eccentric guy, apparently.
Eccentric.
He was, right? Like, is that the John McAfee that everybody talks
Did
about?
he die in prison?
He's the same guy that invented the McAfee virus protection for computers.
Oh, yeah, he died.
Okay.
I think he did die, yeah. But, man, wild guy. Led a wild life.
Yeah.
Man, speaking of turd talk, I've been doing, like, some real old people shit this week. Like,
How do old people shit?
well, I'll tell you. So you guys, we've talked turds before. I told you, like, I'm kind of a fan of taking, like, the more, like, shit in a brick type of shits.
Right,
Just
stretch out the sidewalls.
Just because they're cleaner. Well, you see, that's the problem. In my old age, I started taking these shits that were, like, really scratching the paint. And I felt I was in fear of blowing an O-ring, if you know what I'm talking about.
Someone here has anal fissures.
So I did the oldest ass thing I could do. Well, actually, two. Number one, I started taking fiber gummies because I don't think I get enough fiber. Like, I don't think most of the stuff I eat has any fiber in it. And then stool softener as well.
That's pretty old. Should have gotten some mothballs for your...
Oh, yeah. my transition to a 90-year-old man is almost complete.
So you've been taking giant soft shits. Extra soft. Just the way I like them.
It's weird. It's almost like some of them have been, like, not sloppy, but, like, cloudy. Like, it's really, like, forcing me to shit out maybe the stuff that's been in there a while. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't eat a lot of fiber. I don't believe in it.
You don't believe it exists? Or?
I just don't think I need it.
Well, I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about fiber, and they're like, it's found in this, and this. And I'm like, man, I don't eat any of those things. Maybe I should supplement.
Well, essentially, basically, we just don't digest it, I think. So it just pushes everything out the other end. I don't know. That's my thoughts.
I think that's kind of what it's supposed to do,
Yeah.
but figured it couldn't hurt. Plus, actually, the gummies are good. They're just like fruit snacks.
Fruit snacks.
But I mean,
I think I'll have two.
Fruits and gummies are how you get fiber.
So I could just eat regular fruit snacks. Damn, they got me. What do you get? I should have mentioned off the top before all the turd talk is we will be reviewing She-Hulk episode 1, which we actually just all watched.
Spoiler alert: it stinks.
We'll get to it. I wouldn't say that though. I would not say that.
I'd say it. I'll say it again.
Have you guys been watching or doing anything else this week?
Man, I've just been watching more of the Harley Quinn show. Still funny, like it. You know, season 3 is a little bit less, of a shock. Like, in season 1, you're like, whoa, what is going on?
No, you're just like, it's more of the same.
Yeah, season 3 is more the same, but it's still good. I still like it. But yeah, mostly just that.
I did finish the season of The Sandman, which I thought was pretty decent, and I've watched a couple Lock and Keys.
Oh yeah, you said season 3's out now. Man, there's so much stuff to watch. It's like I'll never catch up. I haven't watched much this week. I just watched.
If you stop watching shit like She-Hulk, maybe you'll have some time on your hands.
Well, I mean, that kind of reminds me, like, there was a time period where when we were kids, we were watching shows from like 30, 40 years before.
Yeah.
And this day and age, kids might never see those old shows.
I know. Yeah, they probably won't. There's just too much shit. Plus, there's like YouTube.
Yeah, and I saw a guy like break this down. Like, there's a lot of cultural references that young people don't get now, that people traditionally were getting before, when like you could watch those old reruns of shows and like know who's been famous for the last 40, 50 years or so. Now it's like, you know, kids only know who they've seen, and before that is like all a mystery. So all these references and everything are lost on them.
I don't know. I didn't get a lot of references in like Looney Tunes. I get them now, but I didn't get them then.
But you know, even like cartoons that were contemporary to us, like Tiny Toons, had like, you know, Citizen Kane references and like, you know, celebrities, older celebrity references and things like that. We maybe didn't understand them at the time, but they were definitely in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, kids today, like, there's just so much that there is probably like a ton of shit that's lost on them, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's gotten to a point where they might not see all the content that's even coming out in real time, you know? So those have so much content that they'll never really get through it.
I don't see how they could. There's just like such a glut of content that like, I don't see how they ever could.
Yeah, it does seem that way. Lucky.
I've just been watching more Ted Lasso.
Okay.
I think I'm like I finished season 1. I'm maybe like halfway through season 2. I'm liking it. You said you watched that show, right?
Yeah.
You liked it quite a bit.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah. It does seem kind of like Americans, like, you know, a good perception of Americans for once, compared to like what normally is like a like a bad, like arrogant jerk kind of image people have of Americans.
Right. It does. I now know the guy that plays Hercules because he's on that show.
Oh, okay.
I actually like his character. Is that like Roy Kent, the like older like soccer player that kind of retires? That guy. I like his character quite a bit.
Right. I didn't get who you're talking about when you said that, but yeah, that's right. Roy Kent. I can't believe that they went with him.
That's him.
Yeah, huh. He's so small compared to who you would think like Hercules would be.
Although, like, I think it's all in the way they shoot things, because they can make you believe like a smaller guy's like big.
Yeah, that's true. They did it with all those action stars in the '80s, Stallone and all them.
Is Stallone a small guy?
I think Van Damme, I know, is like 5'8" or something, really small, and Stallone, I think, is also a short guy.
Yeah, he's a little on the shorter side.
Yeah, I think Schwarzenegger.
You get all muscled up and you don't notice it quite as much.
Oh yeah, I mean, you shoot from like, you know, waist up or whatever.
Put them on apple boxes.
And I heard Tom Cruise was short. You know.
Yeah, they always put him next to short people, stuff like that.
Nicole Kidman was like way taller than him, but like they kind of made him look like they were similar.
He was like standing on the stairs the whole time.
They do like a weird forced perspective where like he's more in the foreground or something like that.
They look like they're standing by each other, but he's like 4 feet forward.
They're doing movie commentary. They're like, funny thing is, we were never in the same room because like one person's like way ahead of the other one.
Do you guys want to do like one round of stories before we get into She-Hulk?
Sure, I'm into it.
All right. Anybody who hasn't watched, we're going to go around the table. Everybody will bring a wacky news story to the table, and we'll see if we can't make something funny and or interesting out of it. AJ, as tradition dictates, we usually start with you, so what do you got for us?
All right, dead spiders transformed into reanimated necrobots.
Okay.
Few moments beat the cinematic brilliance of Gene Wilder channeling Dr. Frederick Frankenstein in 1974's Young Frankenstein as he waits for the monster he's pieced together to stir. He screams heavenward, "Life, life, do you hear me? Give my creation life." Of course, anybody familiar with this cautionary tale knows things go downhill for Frankenstein after this reanimation of his monster. Nevertheless, various researchers around the world continue to work on ways to circumvent death. One of the latest endeavors is downright horrifying. It involves the reanimation of deceased spiders, namely wolf spiders, to create what can only be described as miniature versions of claw machines seen at carnivals. Except these claw machines come with a gruesome biological twist. As if seeing one zombie-like spider isn't enough, scientists have even used the Frankenstein-like arachnids to pick up other dead wolf spiders. Researchers have turned... Oh, it's more of that. They can lift more than 100 times their own body weight. Starting to feel your skin crawl. Although the concept of necrobot spider sounds like a subplot of Mary Shelley's famous horror tale, the discovery has nothing to do with the novel Frankenstein. Instead, it started with a group of researchers at Rice University. After discovering a dead spider curled up in a ball in their engineering laboratory, they were inspired to find out why spiders' legs balled up tightly against the abdomen after death, per Smithsonian Magazine. What they uncovered yielded the concept behind necrobots. As researchers delved more deeply into the anatomy of spiders, they realized that arachnid legs are similar to hydraulic pressure systems. When a critter expires, the hydraulic system breaks down, hence the final contraction of the legs. Having stumbled upon this so-called hydraulic system, the team decided to reverse engineer it. Once they cracked the code, they could body snatch dead arachnids, transforming them into veritable machines. If you assume the reanimation of spider corpses is some kind of magic or illusion, you're far from alone. We can assure you there are no smoke and mirrors when it comes to hijacking spider cadavers. Rather, it's all about perfectly placed puffs of air. Using these spurts of air at strategic locations along each wolf spider's corpse brought success in straightening all the leg stimulus simultaneously before allowing them to curl up again. But researchers didn't want to stop there. Like Dr. Frankenstein, the allure of triumphing over death proved too attractive a concept to ignore. And fortunately, the necrobots creators didn't need lightning or human cadavers to bring their strange creations to life. Further experimentation even allowed them to move the legs in a claw-like motion, facilitating the pickup of various diminutive objects. You may be wondering why the researchers settled on wolf spiders for their experimentation. After all, couldn't any spider's bodies do? Yes and no. You see, wolf spiders were a natural choice because of their ability to lift much heavier objects than themselves. Moreover, they have microscopic hairs on their legs, which translates into plenty of extra gripping power. These biological advantages make wolf spiders the ideal creature to pick up everything from irregularly shaped meshes to fragile electrical components, and even those previously mentioned dead wolf spider bodies. Daniel Preston, senior author of the studies, notes, "Our work here presents the first step in this new avenue of research, which we expect will extend to locomotion of necrobots by independently actuating each leg of the spider." Not everybody's sold on the utility of spider corpses, but one thing's for sure, the experiment has a potential to give the biggest arachnid lover the heebie-jeebies.
It doesn't seem practical.
Yeah, it seems like it's a long way to go to pick up an object, like if they're just picking up little things with it.
You gotta glue 1,000,000 of them to the bottom of a pad, and you just pick up whatever you want.
Yeah.
I mean, so how boring was it in the science lab that day that someone was like, I got an idea?
And they all got around and were like, hey, why do they curl up like that? Let's talk about this for a while.
They're like, what are we going to do to get this government grant?
Yeah, right.
Listen to this, guys. Yeah, who pitched that one?
I don't know.
It does make you wonder, the whole government grant thing, how much money goes to funding bullshit like this that would never help the human race at all?
Oh, I think tons.
How can we weaponize spiders? Spider bomb.
The new Spider-Man villain.
Yeah, we need to start doing that. That should be our business, coming up with bullshit research to get into. and get funding for.
Yeah, we can come up with some bullshit and make money off of it and be like, yeah, we're using all this for our experiment.
Yeah.
You need to see receipts.
Can release a virus and give vaccines that apparently don't work.
Oh, I heard about this. I think they're called cryons. Like what's in the body, like it's like a shape or something that's part of our structure.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, there's like I think these camels. They have these messed up cryons. So like basically they get boils all over their bodies. They become like almost like these like monsters like you would see in a game, like covered in boils to the point where they can like hardly breathe or do anything, and their mentality it changes. They become like psychotic. They start standing on two legs and acting all kinds of strange ways. It's like a zombie thing, and like it's just it can't be cured because it's not an actual virus. It's just a structure of DNA that's just wrong, within their body, and it just causes all these crazy things to happen to them. And it's just like, man, like we talk about zombies and stuff, but it could happen to humans. Like it's not just made up or fantasy. Like something could go wrong to the point where like you can't fix it. It's in your DNA. It's very, it can be passed down genetically. Like, I don't know.
I mean, there are people that are more prone to certain things, like things like that, like fatty tumors or their scar tissue heals weird. So like anytime they get a cut, they get like keloids and they get big chunks of scar tissue and just random stuff.
This is off topic, but something, a word you said during that reminded me of something. How do you guys pronounce this word? Crayon.
Oh, I say crown.
What do you say?
Crown.
Crayon? Well, the reason I asked, because, like, I thought everyone said crayon. And I was watching Tom Segura, and apparently there's this whole sect of people that say, like, crayon, or they say it all weird. And it was like a lot of people. Like, I was like, what the fuck? I've never heard anybody say anything besides crayon. And they were like saying crayon, like pronouncing it all fucking weird. I was like, what is wrong with these people? I've never heard this.
I thought you were going to say crown, like, like a crown that people wear. Like, I could see how people might.
A few people might have said it like that, too. I don't know. Like, they went around like this news station and were asking everybody to say it. And, like, some people said it normal, like crayon. And some people, like, a lot of people are saying it more like crayon. There might have been a crown in there, too. But I was like, what the fuck? Like, have you guys ever heard anyone in life pronounce it like that?
Not crayon.
Is this like a Southern thing?
Possibly. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be
it
a
feels
Southern.
like slightly like an accent. You'd almost, where you drop certain sounds.
I was like, okay.
Like a Southern dandy. Go get my crayons.
Maybe.
Now you're
Do a
feeling
little
dandy.
drawing. Yeah, like a dandy.
I mean, that's so lazy to say crane instead of crown.
Should we move on to Manifesto round one?
Okay, very short one. Armless homeless man in Florida stabbed somebody with scissors using his feet.
Oh, I know this guy. I saw him
You've
on
seen this guy
yeah,
before?
I've seen him on Barstool Sports. Like I was on TikTok and they had like a TikTok, video, and basically the guy Dave Portnoy walks out of a pizza shop with a pizza, and this guy walks out behind him, and he's just saying weird stuff, and Portnoy's just like, what? And this guy's just like, the video camera stops on him, and he just rants for like a few seconds, and then walks off, and Portnoy's like.
And I had a woman today, and like she was yelling at people and like grabbing people on the street and like blocking people with like bikes and stuff. I was like, we're just acting weird.
Yeah,
It's like people are out there.
I think it's just lashing out, like they've had stuff happen to them, so they're just like, boom.
Yeah, some people are just crazy. It's like, I don't know. It's hard to tell what's going on in their brains.
Yeah.
But you'd think like You're like, oh, this guy's got some scissor feet. Maybe I'll give him a little distance, or like push him over.
I mean, he's got to be pretty good with those feet, huh? Like he's been relying on those for everything.
I guess. But yeah.
Man, speaking of feet, I'm just going to draw everyone to go over to Tom Segura's podcast. But like, they showed this video where somebody was like taking a shit in a stall, and they saw the guy's foot in the next stall and videoed it, because I can't even explain this thing. It was like an elephant foot. It was like there was no toes. It was just a smooth, fat foot. It looked. I swear it was. I don't even know how it would happen. Like, what happened to this person?
Like, was it just straight leg? Like, just a straight down leg?
Like
I mean,
You're right. You're not describing this very well.
It wasn't exactly a stub, because, like, there was a fleshy like thing at the bottom, but there was no toes. It was just round on the end, and it was like big and fat. And I was like flabbergasted.
So this person was barefoot in the restroom?
Barefoot.
Was it like morbidly obese, where it's just like the fat was like?
I
on the
mean,
floor?
you couldn't exactly see the person. I'm guessing they were a big boy.
Okay.
Yes, I'm guessing they were pretty damn fat. But still, what happened? No toes. No toes.
You lose them when you get diabetic.
Maybe that's what happened. But it was like so smooth, God, I don't know. It was something.
It didn't look like anything was amputated. It was just a smooth, like
right.
Yeah, maybe it's just
maybe they were amputated, and just like over time, and there wasn't like a huge like nasty scar or something. I don't know, but I would have videotaped it too, I think, because it was just so disturbing.
Yeah.
It'd be like that time you forgot to shut off your flash. He just sees like a flash on his leg. It's like, you're taking pictures of my foot, aren't you?
It's like a Dr. Doolittle situation, or Nutty Professor, or whatever that is, where he like doesn't he like turn into animals and stuff, and
he talks to animals. He talks to animals. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm thinking about like somebody transforming.
Also, though, how does this relate?
I was like, I haven't
there's some stuff
I haven't seen Dr. Doolittle in ages, but I'm pretty sure he just talks to the
I
animals.
was just thinking, I don't know why, but in my head I had like this Eddie Murphy like turning into different kinds of animals kind of like movie. I don't know why that was in there.
Well, I also got a story about a guy who ran afoul with the law. Father-in-law caught using cat to masturbate.
What?
This one's disturbing.
You're angry, aren't you?
A woman who's suspicious about her father-in-law making frequent visits to her bedroom found out that her fears were not unfounded when she found out that her father-in-law was indeed going into her room for her cat to masturbate. Harold Stanley Kenderdine, 66, is facing animal sex charges for the incident, which was caught on video on July 14th. According to State Trooper Joel Miles of Coudersport, I don't know where that is, Kenderdine's wife Sonia warned her son Nathan and daughter-in-law Alexandra that her husband, Nathan's stepfather, had been seen going into their bedroom several times over the last month. Sonia suggested the couple who lived with her and her husband install a lock on their bedroom door. After the warning, Alexander set up a Blink indoor security camera in the couple's bedroom on July 13th. The very next day while she was out, she began getting notifications from her security system that there was activity in the bedroom. Kenderdine was caught walking into the bedroom at about 11:15 a.m., then walking towards the bed where the couple's calico cat Callie was sleeping. He put his hand on her crotch and picked up the cat. He grabbed the cat by its sides and then repeatedly thrust himself against the cat. You could see that his penis was outside of the zipper fly of his pants as he walked around the bed. He continued to masturbate for a short time and then left the room. When asked about why he has sex with the cat, he played it off as just a guy thing. That's a good one. You know us guys, always trying to fuck cats and dogs and whatnot. However, he told the trooper that he did it to piss off his stepson and stepdaughter-in-law. According to troopers, Alexandra had previously told them that she and her husband did not get along with Kenderdine.
It's like, hey, you know what we really hate when people fuck our cat.
But they wouldn't even have known about it, right?
Apparently, he was doing it in secret for a while.
Yeah.
Kenderdine said that the cat hair felt good and ultimately reminded the trooper that he didn't actually penetrate the cat. Well, there you go. That seems okay. He apparently also said this was a stupid mistake and that he wishes he hadn't done it. He has been charged with having sexual intercourse with an animal and cruelty to animals. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for Tuesday at 10:30 in front of District Judge Carrie McLeaf. I mean... his story doesn't really hold up because, like, the thing was, I was just trying to piss him off. Does that mean he was gonna tell him eventually? Oh yeah, I've been
fucking your cat for years now.
Like, what's he gonna send like
Gotcha.
a video or something of it?
I still like to. It's just a guy thing, guy trying to get some pussy, right? You know what I mean?
Haven't been able to find a woman this hairy in a while.
Poor cat. You know what? It's dangerous though. Like cats are so shifty. Like that cat could have totally clawed his wiener off.
Yeah, for sure.
That'd be a good story. Can you imagine going into the doctor? Hey, doc, gonna need some stitches here. He was like, yeah, I just got out of the shower and he attacked me.
You know, you slip, you fall, your dick goes into some catnip. It's a whole thing. I mean, geez, Lou. But the thing is like, it was that guy's wife who ultimately was like, this guy's up to something. So, like, I mean, what was their relationship like?
Yeah,
She's like,
that's not something you really want to find out about your significant other.
the fact that she's like, you might want to lock your door. My husband's going in there, and that can't be good.
That's true.
So in conclusion, don't fuck cats. All right, on that note, should we get into some She-Hulking?
She-Hulk.
Let's see. Somewhere along here, I got the old Rotten Tomatoes. What do you guys think this is rating at right now in Rotten Tomatoes with just one episode out?
Well, Miss Marvel did substantially better than it deserved.
It did.
Are we talking audience or critic?
You can guess either.
I know it got review bombed for audience score. I'm gonna go with like 7 out of 10 in that region.
I wouldn't be surprised if the critic rating is like 70 or 80 or even higher, maybe.
Spot on with the audience rating at 70%, but the tomato meter is at 87%.
Jeez.
Let's see. So, She-Hulk stars Tatiana Maslany as Jennifer Walters, aka She-Hulk. Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk. Tim Roth, who hasn't been on yet, is Emil Blonsky. What's his?
Abomination.
Abomination. Yeah. Apparently, Benedict Wong will be in it at some point as Wong. Ginger Gonzaga is Nikki. I guess that was her friend at the law firm. And Jamila Jamil as Titania, who showed up just at the very end of episode 1. All right, and then I also got up here somewhere the old Wikipedia episode guide to help us remember some shit. Okay, so the show opens on her practicing a speech for a big old lawyer case she's involved in. Then she exits the room, but then she comes back. And she, of course, breaks the fourth wall. What do you guys think? Because I guess I've never really dug into the She-Hulk comics, but I guess in certain runs she does break the fourth wall, like Deadpool. What do you guys think of that? Do you like it? Do you not?
In general, I don't know if I care, but in general, it's not my favorite thing. But if you're gonna do it, maybe don't make it completely pointless.
I mean, I was fine with it here. I mean, I thought it worked fine as like a transition to get her backstory.
Okay.
Yeah, it was alright. I liked it more in Deadpool. I don't know why. It just seemed more
funnier, probably.
Yeah.
So yeah. So then she breaks the fourth wall to tell us, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm She-Hulk, and this is how it happened." So it flashes back a few months ago. She's having a car ride with Bruce. I don't know if it said where they're going. They're on some trip or something. When all of a sudden a spaceship comes down, a Sakaran spaceship. Now, I feel like, because I've read a shitload of Marvel comics, and I feel like I've seen that name before, but I don't remember what the Sakaran look like or what
Sakaar, that's the planet that Jeff Goldblum rules.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Sakaar.
You think we'll get some Jeff Goldblum up with this bitch?
Maybe.
Anyway, the spaceship causes them to veer off and crash the car. Oh yeah, Bruce mentions before that he's got this device on his wrist that he made to basically keep him in his human form. Which, throughout the movies and stuff, have they ever really explained his deal? Because like, he shows up in I think it's Endgame, and then he's all of a sudden just like the smart Hulk, you know. But does he ever really explain? Well, I guess he maybe goes over it a little bit in this show about how like he makes that transition.
Yeah, like he talks about in this show how he put it together and got like the brains and the bronze and made the smart Hulk, and he also talks about how mostly that.
Now, so did he like in Endgame, did he have to be the Hulk, or could he have been just Bruce Banner? Like in Endgame, I got the impression that something happened that like forced him to be the Hulk rather than choose.
Well, when he snapped the glove or whatever, he said it was like made for him. So I think for like plot purposes, like it was better that he be the Hulk so he could use the gauntlet, the Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, okay. Okay, we'll go with that. So yeah, they get in a car wreck. They're both bleeding, and so as she pulls him out of the wreckage, she gets some of his blood in her bloodstream, causes her to Hulk out. And at first, like, she can't control it, so she just kind of goes crazy and runs through the woods. She wakes up back in her human form. I guess like her clothes must have been somewhat ripped.
I guess.
Anyway, she finds this bar, and she goes in this bar and like goes to the mirror and starts like washing her face, and she's like covered in blood and shit. And then this pack of like multicultural like ladies come in, and I was asking you, I was like, are these ladies like prostitutes, and they like think she's a fellow prostitute and is like thinks she's been like abused by her pimp or something, and they're trying to help? Or is this just like a group of like bachelorette ladies or something out on having a girls' night out?
Yeah, it's not clear, but it's weird because they just come in and they're instantly like, "Oh, let us help you. Here's some hairspray. Here's some makeup. Here's whatever."
The reason I thought that maybe prostitutes is they put like this like puffy like jacket on her,
Right, really shitty jacket.
that looked kind of like a prostitute.
But she was like all dirty and stuff, and they're just like putting makeup over the dirt. And I'm like, that's you might want to clean her up first, and then then maybe talk about a little makeup over the.
Like, we'll put it on thick enough. It doesn't.
You got to really cake it over those, those blood marks there.
So yeah, that part was a little bit silly. And then like she goes outside the bar, and like right away there's like this stereotypical like group of guys that are like, I don't know, catcalling her.
Well, right when it came to the bar, I'm like, okay, there's gonna be a bar fight.
Yeah. At least it doesn't last long. So yeah, these guys are like harassing her, so she immediately like hulks out and like I think she like punches them. And then, right before that, she borrowed one of the prostitute's phone to call Bruce, so he knows. And then I think she just basically kind of blacks out at that point and wakes.
She like tackles somebody, and then like it cuts to her waking up.
Yeah, so she wakes up in bed, and she's greeted by Bruce. We find out that he took her to Mexico. He's got like this science lab / stronghold there that Tony Stark built for him, and he mentions that like. He used that lab to basically figure out how to make himself the quote-unquote smart Hulk.
But he also like writes off like the car crash. He's like, "Oh yeah, that spaceship. I don't know what that was about. I'll have to figure that out at some."
Yeah, he's like,
point in the
I'll get to
future."
the bottom of that eventually.
But like it obviously came for him, right?
Yeah.
And they crashed, and then it was just gone. It was like, well, it served its purpose.
That seems like so far the most interesting storyline. Like, what was up with that spaceship?
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, that was just. It feels stupid. I don't know what's going on.
But the thing is if that spaceship contained somebody who wanted him, why wouldn't it just like been like, oh, they're wrecked. Okay, let's go get him.
Yeah.
Like he's hurt. Like, you know, so that maybe they'll explain that. Maybe to give.
They
to
just
be
wanted
fair.
to fly across a galaxy and make him drive off a cliff. And they're like, mission accomplished.
So this is Walters is taken to Banner's secret laboratory in Mexico, where he explains her special genetic condition and offers to help with her powers. Doesn't he say like there's something like because they're cousins and like they have certain genetic markers in common, like that helps her like deal with it?
Right. So somehow, like, they have something special in their DNA or blood or something, and they can absorb gamma radiation and turn it into whatever makes them a Hulk, I guess. But there was also something like, oh, when we were in the crash, I had that thing on me, and so I was bleeding, and my blood got in you, and now you're a Hulk because you also absorbed a bunch of gamma radiation. I was like, how did she absorb gamma radiation? I was like,
Well, I mean, just by his blood, right?
I guess he has very he's gammaed up in his blood.
I mean, that's true to the comics. Like with the Hulk, it's gamma all up in his business, in his blood and everything.
So do you think like the people around him get cancer?
Maybe. I mean, they don't explicitly say that ever.
Anyway, it seemed, it was what it needed to be, I guess.
So yeah, there's a sequence here where like he's running experiments on her, and like he wants to know what it takes to bring the Hulk out in her, and so he puts her in this thing and gets these like saw blades spinning at her, and eventually that like scares her enough to transform her, and like. Actually, I should back up a minute because he tells her that, like, this is going to change your life. You're probably going to have to stay on this island for years, and I'll, like, teach you how to control your powers. But then after he runs that experiment, like, he finds out that she doesn't go crazy like he did when he was originally the Hulk. Like, when she changes into the Hulk, brain-wise, she's still her. So he's like, oh, this will take some time off your training or whatever. They have like a whole training montage, which is fun enough, I guess, where like they're throwing giant boulders and learning to, leap tall buildings in a single bound and all that kind of stuff.
I felt like there's a little bit of like women power there, I guess. Like, whatever you can do, I can do better. I don't know.
But he throws the rock into outer space.
He's
Yeah.
way stronger.
Well, he had something to prove after she showed him up, I guess.
I mean, they do show that he's still like stronger, but I was trying to think like if there was anything else in that. I mean, there's
yoga.
yeah, they're throwing some comedy
meditation.
with the yoga where like he's trying to get her to like use yoga, but she's not really into it, and she really just wants to go back to her own life, and like he's got this whole thing where he's like, I got to teach you to be a superhero. And she's like, I don't want to be a superhero. I'm just going to go back and be a lawyer. But he's like, no, you have these powers. And basically the Spider-Man thing, so you have a responsibility. Like you can save people and whatnot. So you should be a superhero. But like, she's not into that. You didn't like, I feel like there was some like decent like banter between the two of them at points.
At points, I thought like maybe they were trying to be funny, and it just wasn't.
I mean, it wasn't like a gut busting or anything.
It wasn't even a chuckle.
Okay.
I didn't hear anybody laughing.
Maybe there was a smirk.
Yeah, there might have been some smirking.
So it basically boils down to She attempts to leave in a Jeep. Bruce like doesn't want her to. And then this leads them into having like this big like fight. And like a part of me was like, well, if he's not Hulk brained out, like he's taking big shots at her.
Yeah, why is he in this fight as anything other than trying to be calm? And then like, yeah, it's a stupid fight.
Yeah, it was just fan service.
It seemed that way because I was like, is he doing this to quote unquote like train her and test her limits, or like is he really like having trouble? Because he's supposed to be his like normal brain, so it's not like he's like hulking out and like can't control his temper.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seemed like they just wanted an excuse for these guys to have a fight. As far as the CG, I thought it was like fine. You do notice it like when they throw things, like sometimes it looks a bit like weird, but like for the most part, I thought it was serviceable.
Yeah, no huge issues with the CGI. There's definitely much worse stuff in Miss Marvel.
Yeah. And as far as like her hulking out, like, you know, with him between a human and Hulk, it's like a huge change. Hers doesn't seem that dramatic. Like maybe she gets a little bit taller and a little bit wider. I don't know.
Yeah, she's definitely taller. Her hair gets straight.
Yeah, that's right.
Now he has a scene where he's like, "Your new best friend is spandex," and then we got a scene where she's like, you know, seemingly wearing just a regular T-shirt. She hulks out and goes back down. Are we to believe that that's spandex? Because it just looks like a cotton T-shirt.
I don't know. She ripped her suit on a later one.
Well, I mean, like she was wearing that "I Love Mexico" shirt, and it didn't seem like that when like got fucked up. So I was like, is that spandex? Is everything she's wearing spandex right now? I don't know.
You never see Hulk's dick in spandex. Like I don't feel like spandex would help you a lot. Like I think you'd still be seeing more than you want to see.
They need to get the Fantastic Four in there with those unstable molecule suits that they have. They can just like go to any shape.
I thought you were gonna say so the stretchy guy could like cover his private parts. Stretch.
Well, you know, the stretchy guy, he has the unstable molecule suit, so he can stretch, and he doesn't have to worry about such things.
It's kind of degrading to be a Hulk diaper, though.
That would be a good comic panel. I'll have to find a way to fit that in a story.
Never tell anyone about this.
He's like, "I'll save your modesty, Hulk."
Sue Storm's married to underwear.
But yeah, basically they come to terms with things. Oh yeah, and we find out because he has like this little tiki bar, and we find out that I guess just like Captain America, like they metabolize alcohol so fast that like it takes a lot to get them drunk.
Yeah, they said they get the buzz, but they don't get like messed up and throw up or anything.
Right. So yeah, they come to terms with it. She goes back to her regular life. So towards the end of the episode, she's doing her court case that they set up in the beginning. When like out of nowhere, for whatever reason, I'm sure they'll get to it in probably the next episode or whatever. Titania, who they don't actually name in this episode,
Right?
but she breaks through the wall, and basically Jennifer just instantly turns into the Hulk, and just like easily like throws her against the wall. Like she doesn't put up a fight at all, seemingly.
She comes in with like almost like no known purpose, like no motive.
Yeah, I guess we'll find that out
And
later.
like she's like, I guess I do have to turn into the Hulk. And yeah,
She does
doesn't make sense.
Titania does like at one point try to do like this Street Fighter kick at her, and she's like wearing like these weird like pants that are like all like fluffy or something, or they look very fashionable. I guess very weird.
Yeah, and it also makes like a sound. Now, here's something I was wondering. Do you guys feel like, to some extent, they were trying to like put in elements from like, shitty old like TV?
I mean, possibly, because I think this is supposed to be kind of an ode to like maybe like old school, like 70s type shows.
There were a couple of times when I got that feeling, but it's like I don't know if they were like dedicated to it, but it's kind of like in there.
Well, early on when they first announced the show, I remember they released like some sort of poster or something, and it kind of looked like a 70s type style thing. So I think they are kind of going for something like that.
I don't know. I did kind of see those elements. I feel like if they're trying to do, is it supposed to be funny? Like, is it?
Yeah, they're definitely going for a comedy here.
Like, they're not hitting it. But most funny shows are written by comedians in general. It's not just like some writer who's like, oh, well, let's make a comedy.
I mean, certainly some of the funniest shows of all time were written by comedians, but I'm sure there's shows we've watched that were funny that were written by just like people we didn't know of.
I don't know. At any rate, it didn't work for me.
No, you're saying just the humor didn't work, or the show as a whole?
I mean, there's things that don't make sense. If I was going to take my mood over like the whole thing, it's just being bored. I was bored.
Well, I mean, the stuff that, is the stuff that doesn't make sense stuff that they, because like I'm sure they're gonna like go into Titania's backstory. I'm sure they're gonna eventually explain the Sakaar aliens. Like, other than that, like, what's the stuff that like puzzled you or didn't make sense?
I mean, those were just, there were things that just felt like plot filler, I guess. And like, there wasn't any like comic lines that kind of brought it home for me. There was a little bit of banter, but I don't know. I was just like, I was like, okay, you've told me how she becomes the Hulk. Here's our montage. Here's our fight. Here's our random scene in the courtroom. There was no surprises in there for me, I guess.
By the way, do you think this Titania lady is instantly going to become like someone she's defending in court?
Possible.
I kind of get that feeling that like we're going to find out that,
that would kind of seem like a conflict of interest.
Maybe, but I feel like we're going to find out her backstory is she was like aggrieved in some sort of way, and then She-Hulk ends up defending her, even though it would be a conflict of interest. I'm probably wrong, but that's just...
She was acting irrationally. She's a woman.
I thought she would be defending Abomination later on some point, but...
Oh, good point. Yeah, if he's going to be in it, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Man, it's kind of weird because, like, I only watched the Incredible Hulk movie once because I didn't think it was that good. So I don't really even remember it all that well. And, like, it just seems weird because it was so long ago that they're, like, bringing elements from that movie,
I mean, with this show, I think there's still a lot to be excited about. I think the first episode, it fell flat for me, too. But that's just how these Marvel shows go. Like, in the first 2 episodes, they're usually pretty, like, dull.
You have to get through 2 or 3 and then cross your fingers that it gets better.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that, like, it's got, these big names coming up in the future of this season. So, like, we got Wong, we've got Abomination, we've got other people probably. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this universe gets built out.
I will say, I mean, you can't really judge based off of one episode, but so far, like, I'm definitely got better vibes about this show than Hawkeye and Miss Marvel.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't think it's going to rank quite as low as those 2.
So, I don't know if we need to do this for every episode of this show, but just as a starting point, where do you think you'd rate this show on a scale of 1 to 10?
Give it a 6 out of 10.
3.
I'm going to be even nicer. I'm going to give it a 6.5. You know, on the upside, I think Tatiana Maslany, I don't think I've seen her in very much, but I thought she was like charismatic and like fun here.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, I thought they did okay going like together.
Do you think with Ruffalo, like, do you think with the Hulk, they're like totally just like CGing and he's just doing like voiceover work? Or do you think they actually get him in the mocap suit?
I think they put him in the suit.
I would think he'd be in the suit.
Because I mean, the Hulk's definitely doing some stuff that, you know, he's not doing. So I didn't know like if they did that or not.
Yeah, it could be a combination or, yeah, I don't know.
Well, we had mixed feelings about She-Hulk episode 1, but what did you think? Go ahead and leave us a comment and let us know. And speaking of comments, guys, I got a new segment for the show that I like to call Comments on Comments. Hopefully we'll have more of these down the road. This is where we pick out a couple comments people left for us on our videos.
Ooh.
And we comment on them.
All right.
I left this one to the end because this is comments from our Nope review. And there's some slight spoilers, Nope spoilers, if you're really worried about it. Nothing terrible. Username Slambell says, kind of stunned you guys thought it wasn't a deep movie at the beginning of the review. So I think he's referring to the fact that we kind of said, like, unlike maybe Jordan Peele's like Get Out, like it didn't seem like there was so much more like deep meaning, like social commentary and things like that.
Maybe we weren't smart enough to see it.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being the case.
Could be. Now, this guy didn't go into detail.
Oh, so he didn't tell us what was the deep
Right, but this next guy kind of did.
Oh, okay, here we go.
And he actually puts something in here that I think he noticed that we didn't. But he actually left 2 comments, but okay. And actually, this first one is pretty in-depth. Now, I will say this isn't all grammatically correct, but I think I got the gist of it. And we definitely recognize that not everybody has English as their first language. So, but this is username Yawa Koben. Probably mispronouncing that, but he says, wow, y'all really had a hard time with this movie. It's okay. All movies are subjective. That's a good attitude to have. They are all subjective and have different effects on people, but you guys seem to have missed a lot. The Gordy subplot. This subplot informed us why Jupe, Stephen Yeun's character, thought the alien trusted him. Gordy was a popular show that would have led Jupe to great success, but got canceled and buried because they couldn't control the ape. He puts in parentheses, chips aren't monkeys, exclamation point. So at some point we probably call them monkeys. So,
Yeah.
Sorry. Jupe thought he could control the alien, which led to the death of all those people. What is especially egregious is that his co-star actually survived the chimp, but he says could survive. I think he means couldn't survive this second attempt at an uncontrollable spectacle. M's jean jacket, M's horse jean jacket, was taken from her to work on Scorpion King. She is ignored, but her brother sees her. This is called back at the end of the movie when M and OJ are confronting the new jean jacket, and they look at each other, and he distracts Jean Jacket. So I think he means that point at the end where he's on the horse, she's on the motorbike, and they kind of have that look between the two of them.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it's a callback. There's a few of them, but...
But yeah, I knew the callback. I just didn't think it was important. Yeah.
He says, everything in this movie had meanings and has callbacks. Nothing is wasted. As far as the social commentary, the movie is about spectacle, how we consume spectacle, and in this movie, the spectacle can literally consume us. Basically, an alien animal super predator is used as a metaphor for spectacle, and it works so well because of certain aspects of animal behavior. Becoming hostile when looking in the eye and becoming a spectacle to threaten others, i.e. turned into jellyfish form like animals that blow themselves up to seem bigger or more intimidating. I mean, that whole thing about how we consume spectacle, like, if that was, like, Jordan Peele's message, yeah, I guess I didn't really pick up on that.
Yeah, I didn't see that really. I mean, there are a lot of like kind of parallel animal references, and I mean, I guess it ties in, and it's an interesting argument saying it's about spectacle, but at the end of the day, it doesn't make me care, I guess.
And then he had one last comment here, which I actually found interesting. He says, I'm not sure, but I thought Jupe never actually had an audience for the alien in the past, as this was the first showing. The previous months were probably training. This is just my assumption. I needed to see the movie again to confirm this. So that would actually make more sense, because I remember saying I was confused because I was like, if this guy's been showing people like this thing coming out of the sky and eating horses, like wouldn't there be like a full audience here? Wouldn't there be like, newspaper stories and shit? And so, like, he's probably right. He's probably like the other horses that he bought were probably all test runs. And then this was his first, like, show.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, it obviously had been buying horses and, like, running them out there to be eaten.
But then, like, how many of those does he need before he's certain? Like, because didn't he do, like, quite a few of them?
Yeah, I'm not sure. He'd apparently been buying horses from that other guy for a while. But yeah, I mean, the audience was pretty small, so it's a possibility.
But I think he's probably right here. Because, that confused me. But yeah, if all the other ones were just test runs and then this was the first where he was actually going to, do it for real in front of people, that makes sense to me. So yeah, I like that. So definitely send us in more comments and you may just get them read here.
Yeah, very thoughtful.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that like it was such a long, like in-depth comment. I appreciate it. Guys, we're still not quite at time. Do either of you got like a small, like interesting, funny story to go out on?
I don't know about small.
I don't know about funny.
All right, let's just go with this, though, because I thought this was funny. Man grants dying man's final wish to dismantle secret sex dungeon.
Oh, yeah. I had this as a possible. Yeah, go ahead.
While most of us like to put it to the back of our minds, it's good to be prepared for the day the Grim Reaper taps us on the shoulder and says our time is up. But if you don't fancy confiding in your loved ones about your deepest, darkest secrets, maybe you could call the Coffin Confessor. For the past 4 years, Bill Edgar has been carrying out the final wishes of those who are close to heaven's gates. It all started in 2018 when a client of his who was dying offered the then private detective $10,000 cash to crash his funeral and kick out an old friend who had been trying it on with his wife. Since then, Bill has been inundated with requests from people asking him to attend their funeral or will reading or dispose of embarrassing items they don't want their family to find. All right. Would you be upset if your friend was trying to get with your wife after you died?
He's holding a grudge.
Probably.
Yeah, you would be upset. Okay, yeah, I guess I would too. But after a while, you got to be like.
You think this guy's like in the audience, and the preacher's like, "Would anyone like to have a few words?" And he's like, "Yeah, right here. Hold on." He just walks up there. He's like, "This guy's been trying to fuck his wife, and you need to get the fuck out."
He like hires even another person to make sure that guy followed through with his part of this. All right, Bill Edgar is a coffin confessor and carries out the final wishes of the dying. Speaking to Lad Bible about his rather unique line of work, the Australian says one man even asked him to dismantle his sex dungeon. I got a call from a palliative care nurse. I don't know what that is. And he said to me, I've got a guy in here. He's dying. He had a fall at home and he can't go home. And he's petrified of what his sons are going to find there. And he needs somebody to go back and clean it, Bill tells us. And I'm like, go get a cleaner. And he goes, no, it's not like that. So I went and met the bloke. He's 88 years of age. And I said to him, what's your concern? He said, I have sex toys at home. And I have 3 sons who are on their way to the house to clean it up up because they know that I'm not going to come home. And I'm like, oh, sex toys, big deal. And he goes, no, it's a sex dungeon. He was once asked by an 88-year-old to dismantle his sex dungeon. So he gave me instructions. He gave me the key. He told me where everything was, and I go into his place, into the secret room, and I'm telling you, it was the most immaculate, pristine, beautiful room anybody could ever go into. Yes, it was a sex dungeon, but it was so well done and so nice, you didn't feel uncomfortable. It was just weird. It took him almost 3 hours to clear the room of the man's collection of toys, which he says were well hidden. You wouldn't have known that they were all sex toys or anything because they looked like a lamp or things They look like a lamp or things hanging on the walls.
What?
I'm curious how a lamp is a sex toy.
You can stick anything up there.
It's like a Willy Wonka thing where like everything's a dildo, everything's a sex toy.
They might have been handcuffs, but at the same time they were so nicely done with flowers or something, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty unique." Oh shit, I know what that is now. It took me a good two and a half or 3 hours easy because I kept going back and forth. We ended up using pillowcases, duvet covers, wrapping all this shit up, and I had to bring it back to my farm and incinerate it. I also had to film it.
Well, maybe I'll keep a few things.
Yeah, incinerate. Right? I also had to film it so that he was happy that it was all gone, and so his sons weren't going to find it. Adding the guy's neighbor even came over and started talking to me, and I was like, "Fuck!" She's going to ask how he was, and what was going on, and I'm like, "Oh man, all good." Bill makes. Oh, it's just a picture. Granted, the above might seem like a little odd to most people. I mean, it's an elderly man with a sex dungeon in his house, but Bill says he was just a loner following the death of his wife. It would be mortifying for his grandkids to find out about their grandfather was a sexual deviant. But at the same time, he was 88. His wife died when he was 50. That's a long time. And he was just having fun. He didn't hurt anyone, I guess. I mean, why not? Bill has received some criticism in the past for doing what he does. However, all he's doing, he says, is giving the dead the opportunity to be heard one final time. I would say to not be heard one final time, probably. And
that wasn't a stipulation not to go to the press after you do all this stuff.
Yeah, how would that guy feel? Like, I know it doesn't name him here, but like somebody might be able to figure this out.
Right? Yeah. And he believes his childhood, which was scarred by horrendous abuse, has made him perfect for the job. My upbringing has given me the ability to not care about those that are left behind, he says. It's all focused on my client and their needs. When I first started, I used to think like everybody else. Why don't you just get a family member or friend to say it, or why don't you do a letter or something? While most of the time they're not played or read, the family and friends are too gutless to stand up at a funeral and say anything, so they get me to do it. Well, I wouldn't attack my clientele. They're shitless, gutless people. They pay me. But, yeah.
Interesting niche.
Yeah, I mean, it's a job. It's a living.
You know, you talking about like the guy's friend trying to hook up with his wife after he died or whatever reminded me of this thing I heard on a podcast. So are you guys kind of familiar with that? I guess there's like a popular Reddit thread called Am I the Asshole?
Oh, yeah.
Where people kind of describe these scenarios in their life and ask like, am I the asshole for like being this way? So there was this one where like there's this guy and his wife is dying of terminal cancer. And he was like, is there one wish like I can grant you, or, you know? And she says, I want to fuck my ex-boyfriend. Like, that's her dying wish. And he's like, am I the asshole for not, like, giving her the okay?
That's a weird request.
It is. Like, would you guys, if you were in that scenario, would you be like, I guess. I mean, you're dying, so I guess.
I mean, do you think the boyfriend would be like, oh, yeah, let me come fuck your, like, dying, bedridden wife?
Some probably would, but I don't know. Let's assume that he would. I mean, I mean, I would feel like if she, if that was legitimately her wish, I'd be like, man, this bitch doesn't love me. So no, you can't.
Yeah, you'd be calling that last will and testament guy.
I'd be like, I'd let her do it, and I'd be like, fuck you at the same time. I'd be like, bye, and then you're going to die anyway. So.
Like,
You just never come back to her deathbed.
you can do it, and I won't cry at the funeral. But yeah, that's a pretty extreme example.
There's no way that was real. I don't think so.
Yeah, you never know. People could be making shit up. But then again, there's weird shit in this world, so who knows?
Maybe it was like a brain illness. Like some people have like mental illnesses, and they become attracted and horny, and to people that they normally wouldn't be. And maybe she just thought of her ex, and that happened. Like boom, she was just
maybe.
He's an 88-year-old and he has this fantastic sex dungeon.
And a cat that we can get freaky with.
Yeah, the cat. I forgot about the cat.
Should we wrap this bad boy up?
Let's do it.
All right, everyone. Well, we thank you very much for watching and or listening. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and your podcast service of choice, whichever you prefer, or both. Like I said, leave us comments and maybe we'll read them right here on the show. Give us thumbs up, positive reviews. Still to this day, they help in the old algorithm. So please do that. And why not come along over to Twitter and follow us on Twitter? Guys, where can people find you?
At a name for this too, and that's number 2.
At unsolicited SUG.
And you can, of course, find me at Zach Jones Live. That's ZachJonesLive. And that is going to do it for all of our shenanigans and poppycock this week. Please, please, please tune in again next week. Bye, guys.
Take care.
Have a good one.